Thank you all for coming, and welcome to the first of the BDO Bright Ideas for Business seminar series. This is something we're going to be doing on a quarterly basis, so you guys have the privilege of being the first attendees, so thank you very much for coming. I am Larry Goddard. I'm the practice leader of the BDO Management Consulting practice, and I'm joined by my outstanding colleagues, Stacy Feiner and Mark Cozell. We make up the BDO Management Consulting practice in Cleveland. And our consulting focus is to help businesses improve performance, profitability, and value. And we decided to develop this seminar series to share with the business community ideas on how to help businesses grow, be more profitable, and be more successful. So today we're going to have 3 different presentations. I'm going to kick off the first one, and then Stacy's going to follow, and then Mark will follow afterwards. And we'll have plenty of time for questions and discussion afterwards, so hopefully we can have a good interactive discussion. And each session is going to be videotaped and put online, and you'll all be sent links to the videotape. So you don't need to take notes, you'll be able to get the videotape if you want to. So, as I said, I'll be presenting the first topic, which is growing sales in a slow growth economy. I think pretty much every business I know wants to grow, but many have found it challenging in the current economy. Any of you, just by show of hands in this group, are in an industry where growth is easy right now? Not one? Nobody's in an easy growth industry? Well, that's interesting. So that really is why I think this topic is very relevant, because we're all experiencing, living in a slow growth economy, but everybody wants to grow. Is anybody involved in an industry where your industry, not your company, is growing by 10% or better per year? How about 5%? Good, Mike. Where's another one? Who else? So, your industry's going more than 5%? That's great, Ralph. Yeah, okay. And the reality is that GDP has grown by a little over 2% for the last 4 years in a row. So, the economy is not helping businesses grow dramatically. And so what this means is that for businesses that want to grow at more than 2 to 3%, you're going to have to do some things. You can't just rely on economic growth or industry growth to drive that growth. And if you're fortunate enough to be in an industry that is growing significantly, that's great, because growth is a lot easier when your industry is growing. But for most of us, we don't have that luxury, so growth is still very doable, but it requires a lot more planning and execution. Okay, so what I'm going to share with you today is really what I think are some of the ways where you can help your company grow. And the keys, in my opinion, are to pursue optimal growth that is perfect for your company. There's many different ways a company can grow, but not all of them are right for every business. So what you want to do is try to pursue growth that is just right for your business. And then the second thing is to tilt the odds in your favor, to give yourself a better chance of winning. So here we have an example of a company that in 2010 did $10 million in sales, as you can see on the left-hand side of the chart, and in 2015 did $20 million in sales. And if you look at that chart, what do you see as the major way that this company grew? Market growth. So this company, of its $10 million in growth, from 10 to 20 million, achieved $6.1 million of its growth through market growth. So this company, from 2010 to 2015, enjoyed a significant amount of market growth and was able to take advantage of that. And I'm sure you've all heard the expression, a rising tide lifts all ships. So they rose with the tide, and they were able to grow very, very nicely. But here's their plan from 2015 to 2020. And as you can see, they've actually got a more aggressive growth plan to grow from 20 million to 60 million. But what do you notice that's different about this plan? What did you say? More areas of growth. And what's missing in this plan? Market growth. So this company realized that their market stopped growing and they couldn't rely on market growth any longer. So what they now have to do is pursue a whole lot of different areas of growth. Now what you can see at the bottom of this chart is actually there are 8 major ways a company can grow. And they're all listed at the bottom of this chart. And each way, each kind of growth has a different degree of difficulty. So this particular company, their largest area of growth that they're going to pursue is in an area called wallet share. Does anybody know what wallet share growth means? Wallet share growth means getting a bigger share of existing customers' spending dollars. That means doing more business with existing customers. Now, in general, would anybody disagree that it's easier to grow business with existing customers than go get new customers? Everybody agree with that? So, in any business, the starting point for growth should be to explore how to grow wallet share. And the first thing a company should do in doing that is to know what your wallet share is with all your major customers. So very, very few companies actually measure what their wallet share is. But if there was one benchmark that would be one of the most important benchmarks for a company to know, it would be wallet share. And a lot of companies will say, well, how do we know this? Well, there are ways to find out. Firstly, you can ask. You can ask the customer and never stop asking. So you can ask in 10 different ways. If you keep asking customers what your wallet share is with them, eventually you're going to find out. And every time you ask, you'll get a little bit more information. You might never know the right answer, the 100% correct answer, but directionally you're going to get that information. So that is probably one of the most valuable pieces of information a company can get. And so, but this company also wants to pursue new customers. $6 million of their growth is new customers. Now, we already agreed that that's a lot more challenging for a company to pursue because new customers basically means essentially stealing customers away from your competitors, which takes work and takes planning. And then they also want to do new products. New products require, what do you have to do to get into new products? R&D. And what are the chances of getting it right the first time? There's a learning curve you've got to climb. So new products is difficult. How about new segments? Let's say the company right now primarily sells into the aerospace market, but decides the medical market looks very attractive. How easy is that going to be to get into that market? Not that easy. It's got its challenges, but it can be done if you plan it carefully and you execute carefully. So what a company has to do is look at all its different types of growth and analyze the potential, analyze the degree of difficulty, and then prioritize. So this particular company put wallet share as an A priority, and it put new customers, new products, and acquisitions as a B priority. They see that they can actually grow significantly by acquisitions, which many companies do. Acquisitions can be a great way to grow, but they also have their challenges. They're not easy. So this is the important thing. Even if your industry is not growing, there are many ways a company can grow, but the company has to look at every type of growth and say, what's right for me? What's going to be easy? What's going to be difficult? What's the potential? And how should I prioritize? Now, I also mentioned to you that it's critical to be able to tilt the odds in your favor. Now, even if the market is growing, you still need to tilt the odds in your favor. But if the market is not growing, you have to tilt the odds in your favor even more, because you're never going to grow in a market that isn't growing if you don't tilt the odds in your favor. And the first area of tilting the odds in your favor is brand development. What happens when a salesperson shows up on a sales call if the company's brand is not strong? What do you think is going to happen?
First thing you're going to do is you're going to have to then sell your company. It makes the sale a little bit more difficult.
You're going to have to sell your company. It makes the sale more difficult. Well, the first thing is you got to get in the door. Because if you don't have a strong brand, you might not even get in the door. They may say, never heard of you. Sorry, I'm not taking the appointment. So brand development helps tremendously to get your foot in the door and give you brand development gives you an at-bat opportunity and creates a favorable impression for you. But most middle market companies don't spend a lot of time and money on brand development. But this is very, very important. So there are many different ways that brands can be developed. You know, there's the traditional way of advertising, and in that area, anybody know that a company that's got an ad campaign that starts with those who know? Anybody heard of that company? BDO, right. So those who don't know BDO, BDO, you know, has spent a tremendous amount of money in the last 5 years in a brand development campaign, but it's been incredibly successful. And those of us at BDO who go on sales calls, we know the power of that brand. It's a lot easier for us to get our foot in the door anywhere today because of the value of the BDO brand. And so it's extremely important for companies to invest in brand development. And you know, there are many other ways. Having a great website, social media, PR, sponsorships, thought leadership, community involvement. There's many ways a company can develop a brand. No one of them is the right answer, but it's vitally important to be thinking about what am I doing to build the brand of my company and really help my salesperson make a sales call easier. It's all about making the salesperson's life easier. And now, what happens when a salesperson shows up on a sales call and doesn't have a compelling value proposition that can differentiate the company? Basically, you know, you're a Me Too company. The purchasing person, or whoever you're meeting with, has probably heard the same story 5, 10 times before, and is going to look at you and say, what's different about you? It's vital to arm the salesperson with a compelling value proposition that causes the prospect to perk up and be intrigued. That is the goal of any sales call, to have the prospect say, now that's interesting. I haven't heard that before. We could be interested in something like that. That's when you know a sales call is going to be successful. But that only happens when you have a compelling value proposition. So if you want to tilt the odds in your favor, you got to have a compelling value proposition. And there are about 5 different ways that you can have a compelling value proposition. You can have better quality, better service, better features and benefits, better cost, lower price, and better terms and conditions. But it has to be something that is real and tangible, that the customer sees true value. You know, every company that I work with, when I say to them, what's your value proposition? They say, we have better service and better people. And then I say to them, well, what have you done to make your service better and your people better? And how do you really know? And do your customers really believe your service is better or your people are better? And if you're going to have a compelling value proposition, firstly, it's in the eyes of the customer. And the customer has to be able to tell other people, I buy from this company because their products last longer, or because their lead times are much better, or their product facilitates a 20% increase in productivity, or the total cost of ownership is lower than their competitors. or they accept returns with no questions asked and no restocking fee. Those are tangible things that a customer can say, this is what differentiates this company, and this is why I buy from that company. And good information can make a salesperson a lot more effective and tilt the odds in your favor. A good military general wouldn't send soldiers into battle without good intelligence, and certainly wouldn't be tilting the odds in favor of the soldier to send them into battle without good intelligence. And a good military general wouldn't rely on the soldiers for that intelligence. You know, soldiers can give you some intelligence, but you don't want to just rely on the soldiers for the intelligence. You need other sources of intelligence. And that's what a good marketing department should be providing for a company and for salespeople. And again, this is an area where middle market companies tend to underinvest in marketing departments and marketing data and market analysis and market information. So there's great information that marketing departments can provide. Market demographics, market size, market shares, growth rates, trends, fashions. Information about the competitors, their strengths and weaknesses, their pricing strategies, how to compete against them. Information about customers, what their likes and dislikes are, factors that drive their buying decisions, strengths and weaknesses, technology, changes, emerging trends, and where to find likely prospects. The salespeople should be given information by the marketing department where to find prospects, and ideally should be giving them prospect lists. That's going to make salespeople much more effective. So intelligence is vital, and just like in the military, you shouldn't be relying on just salespeople for this intelligence. And tools is vital to tilt the odds in your favor. A well-equipped salesperson is going to be a lot more effective with collateral materials, brochures, website, presentation materials, technology, interactive laptop, the ability to be in a customer's office with your laptop or your iPad and understand what the inventory levels are, be able to issue a quote on the spot, be able to take an order on the spot, having a CRM system that makes the salespeople very efficient, training, product knowledge, selling skills, adapting the value proposition to the customer situation. All of those kind of tools are going to be very, very valuable to tilt the odds in a company's favor. And the final one is having the right people on the bus. Now, in sales, there are really two kinds of salespeople. There are hunters and farmers. And farmers are very good at serving existing accounts, but you need hunters to penetrate new accounts or new territories. And the sad reality is that if you have 5 salespeople, you are lucky if 1 or 2 of them are hunters. The rest are going to be farmers. And if you're expecting a farmer to do a hunter's job, if you ask a farmer to go generate new business, you're going to be disappointed. And so if you want to tilt the odds in your favor, make sure that you have people who have the personalities of hunters and are people that, the way you can find out if somebody's a hunter is they don't fear rejection. They view rejection as a challenge and just a way to get better. Whereas farmers shrivel with rejection. That's how you know the difference between the two. In closing, we're living in a challenging world, and you're fortunate if you operate in a market like Ralph does. He has a product where it's growing. You're fortunate, and you can ride that wave. If you're not, you've got to be much more strategic in how you accomplish growth. And growth can be accomplished. We've seen companies grow significantly in markets that are not growing. But you have to be very strategic, and you have to tackle the types of growth. You have to understand, number one, how you've grown in the past, and which types of growth have got you to where you are today, and which types of growth are going to get you to the future, and which are best suited to you. And then you have to tilt the odds in your favor. You have to have a brand that gets the salesperson foot in the door. You have to have a value proposition that when they get their foot in the door, they can intrigue the customer and differentiate you from the competition. You have to have good information that allows the salesperson to be more strategic and more effective. You have to have good tools that allow the salesperson to be more efficient, and you have to have hunters if you want to do a hunter job. Thank you.